At my family's dinner table, my mother smiled like she was posing for a portrait and said, "We're only inviting you out of pity. So don't stay long." My brother laughed into his glass. My sister filmed it for her vlog. My father just looked through me like I was furniture. No one noticed the tremor in the chandelier above us or the way my hand stayed perfectly still. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just lifted my glass and smiled. Because what they didn't know was that the lake house they worshipped their precious family retreat wasn't theirs. It was mine. And soon, they'd learn what silence can do. Before I continue, tell me where you're watching from. And hit like and subscribe if you've ever been betrayed by family. Because what happened next wasn't anger, it was precision. The kind that cuts cleaner than rage. I thought I was the quiet one in my family. Turns out, I was just the only one listening. When I was a kid, the lake at Ravenwood wasn't just water and trees. It was the one place I didn't feel like an accident. My grandfather Henry used to wake me before sunrise, coffee already in his hand, and lead me down the creaking dock. The air always smelled like wet cedar and smoke from last night's fire. He'd place the small fishing rod in my hands, his voice low and steady. "Here." He'd say, "You don't have to ask permission to exist." I didn't understand it then, but I carried that line like a secret prayer. The mornings were silver and still. We'd sit for hours without catching anything, and he'd smile, like that was the whole point. Even the fish know when peace is enough. He'd say. At night, we roasted marshmallows by the fire, my fingers sticky and warm. The cedar chest beside him held the deed to the cabin. He'd rest his palm on it every night. One day, he said, "This will be yours to protect." After he died, everything changed. My mother, Julia, called a family meeting like it was a corporate presentation. "It's time we start using the Ravenwood cabin properly," she said. "It belongs to all of us." She never mentioned that the deed already had my name on it. My father nodded. My brother Liam smiled, proud of his own reflection. My sister Haley clapped for the camera because every family moment, even Chief, was content for her channel. I stayed quiet. Quiet was easier. It stayed that way for years. Liam got the praise. Haley got the spotlight. I got the leftovers. Mom said I was steady, like it was a consolation prize. I became useful. Instead of loved paying bills, remembering birthdays, managing documents they didn't understand. When I made honor roll, Mom said, "Good. Maybe next year you'll make something of it." She didn't come to the ceremony. Nobody did. Thanksgiving was worse. Liam announced he'd launched a startup, and Dad popped champagne like he'd invented gravity. Haley filmed the moment. Hashtags already typed. Family goals, proud sister. When I mentioned I'd landed a steady client for my freelance writing, Mom said, "That's nice, dear. Just don't forget to help Haley with her captions. She's the face of the family." I swallowed it, but it stayed. Then came the summer. I tried to speak up. They were planning another trip to Ravenwood, rooms assigned, matching hoodies ordered, groceries delivered. I was standing by the counter with a bag of snacks I'd bought myself. "I'd like to come too," I said. Mom didn't look up from her laptop. "All the rooms are taken. Avery, maybe next year." Liam smirked. Haley kept scrolling. I set the bag down gently. No one noticed when I left. That night, they uploaded a vlog. "Weekend at Ravenwood Family Tradition lives on." The thumbnail was perfect. Liam by the dock. My parents by the porch. Haley in the center with her signature smile. The caption read, "Nothing like family time." I watched it twice. I wasn't in a single frame, not even a reflection in the window. That was the night I realized silence wasn't peace. It was erasure. The last real memory I have of the house before everything broke was the night before my college graduation. The living room buzzed like a cocktail party, Liam boasting about investors, Haley showing Mom her latest brand deal. I told them I'd been accepted into a writing fellowship. Mom didn't look up from her phone. "That's cute, honey. But writing doesn't pay the bills." Dad laughed. I laughed, too. But it hurt in a place they'd never see. That night, in my old room, still painted pink from Haley's middle school phase, I found Grandpa's old fishing knife in a drawer. His initials were carved into the handle. H.Q. I turned it over in my hands until the metal warmed against my skin. Back then, I thought the weight of it meant protection. I didn't realize it would someday remind me what courage felt like. After college, I moved to Seattle, where silence became routine. I worked freelance jobs from a tiny apartment that smelled like burnt coffee and printer ink. My parents rarely called. The only time they did was when they needed something. A tax form. A signature. My stable credit. I started keeping a folder labeled Family Documents. It wasn't nostalgia, it was survival. Every summer, my phone filled with photos from their cabin trips. Ravenwood sunsets. Liam grilling. Haley laughing into the camera. Mom and Dad holding mugs that said family first. Sometimes I noticed my old things in the background. My mug, my blanket, my fishing rod. They'd taken everything. Even what they'd forgotten I owned. One day, I found an envelope tucked inside one of Grandpa's old books. My name was written in his shaky handwriting. Inside, a single line in blue ink. Protect what's yours. No instructions. Just faith that I'd know when the time came. I didn't know it then. But that line would become the center of everything. The following year, on Christmas morning, I visited home. The house glowed with decorations, warm lights, cinnamon candles. Music so loud it felt like an apology. Haley opened gifts wrapped in gold paper. Liam got car keys. Mom handed me a grocery bag with a sweater inside. Sorry, she said. We ran out of wrapping paper. That was the moment something inside me shifted, not anger. Just a quiet withdrawal. The kind that doesn't scream. It observes. After Grandpa's death, the cabin became their symbol of unity. But for me, it was a ghost. My name stayed buried in their paperwork like an inconvenient truth. Years passed before I saw what it really was. Not a home, but a ledger. Everything taken, nothing given back. When I finally found the courage to speak again, it was during another dinner years later, the pity invite. The chandelier trembled. Mom smiled for the camera, and I realized she was no longer my mother. She was the CEO of a company called Perfection, and I'd been demoted to liability. I drove home that night with the windows down. Seattle's skyline glittering through the cold. The city didn't care who I was. It didn't pretend to. Somehow, that felt honest. I thought of Grandpa, of the lake, of his voice whispering through the fog. Protect what's yours. For years, I thought he meant the cabin. Now I understood he'd meant me. The week after that dinner, I stopped sleeping through the night. The silence in my apartment wasn't peaceful anymore. It had weight. It sat beside me at the kitchen table, followed me into the shower, lingered in the glow of my laptop at 2 a.m. That's when it happened. One notification. Just a small buzz from my phone. Haley had posted another family weekend at Ravenwood. Her caption read, "Nothing like tradition, Quinn family forever." The photo was bright and effortless. My parents on the porch, Liam flipping burgers, Haley mid-laugh with her wine glass raised. But in the reflection of the cabin window, I saw something that stopped me cold. My old blue backpack, the one Grandpa bought me when I was 12. I hadn't been there in years. I zoomed in until the image blurred into digital dust. It was mine. They were still using my things. I scrolled through the comments. Your family's perfect. Wish I had a bond like this. The irony almost made me laugh. But then I noticed something else. A screenshot in Haley's story highlights. It was a group chat photo titled Quinn Cabin Crew. I wasn't in it. Underneath, Liam had commented, "Avery never comes anyway. We'll just use her key." And Mom replied with a simple thumbs up emoji. The casualness of it burned deeper than cruelty. It was dismissal. Absolute and practiced. That night, I couldn't stop pacing. I opened my old filing cabinet, the one I'd kept since college. Inside were years of papers, tax forms, old statements, utility bills, every envelope labeled, every date recorded. My hands shook as I reached the folder marked Ravenwood. That was when I saw it, a bank statement from 2 years ago, with my name listed as the primary payer for the cabin's property tax. I hadn't signed anything. The next morning, I walked into my local bank. The air smelled like paper and stale coffee. The teller, a woman with a name tag that read Susan, smiled politely. "How can I help you today? I'd like to review any joint accounts under my name," I said. She typed, her fingers tapping out a quiet rhythm. Then she frowned. "You have several," she said, "including one connected to a property in Ravenwood Lake. I'd like to see the details." She printed a stack of papers and slid them across the counter. "You might want to sit down." I did. My name appeared on every line: cosigner, account holder, automatic payments. And then one detail made my stomach tighten. Automatic transfer. Liam Quinn Consulting LLC. My brother had used the cabin as collateral, under my name. When I got back to my car, I called my mother. She answered on the third ring. "Avery." Can this wait? I'm busy. No, it can't, I said. Why is my name on the Ravenwood account? Oh, that. It's just easier for taxes. Your credit's better than your father's, laughing. My credit. Mom, that's fraud. Don't overreact, she said. Her tone clipped. It's family. We all help each other. No, I said. You all help yourselves. She hung up. The sound of that click felt like something snapping clean in half. I sat there for a long time in the car, watching the rain slide down the windshield. The world looked warped through the glass, soft and crooked, like nothing would ever straighten again. That's when I decided to find out just how deep the rot went. That night, I emailed the family's estate lawyer, Marisa Cole. Hi Marisa. I'd like to review all legal documents concerning Henry Quinn and the Ravenwood property. Please confirm my current ownership status. Regards, Avery Quinn. I didn't expect a reply, but by morning, she had written back. Ms. Quinn, I was under the impression your parents handled those matters. Why the sudden concern? I typed back one line. Because I finally realized what you all call family isn't mutual. Then I hit send. 2 days later, an envelope arrived in my mailbox. Thick paper, embossed seal. I opened it with trembling hands. Inside were scanned copies of Grandpa Henry's will and the property deed. My name stared back at me in bold ink. Sole owner, Avery Quinn. For a long moment, I couldn't breathe. All the years they'd spent talking about our family cabin, and it had been mine all along. Grandpa hadn't trusted them. He'd trusted me. I spread the pages across the table like a crime scene, every signature, every date. Proof that I'd been the only one telling the truth. I didn't cry. I laughed. Softly. The kind of laugh that sounds more like disbelief than joy. Then I called Daniel Brooks, a friend from college who now worked as a real estate agent. He'd always been the calm voice in chaos. Hey, he said. Half asleep. Avery. Wow. Long time. Everything okay? I need to sell a property, I said. Which one? The cabin at Ravenwood. A pause. The one your family uses. Yes, but they don't own it. The line went quiet for a second. Then his tone changed steady. Professional. Send me the paperwork. I'll keep it off the market listings. It was the first time in years someone believed me without asking for proof. That night, I didn't sleep. I printed copies of every document, scanned backups into a drive, labeled folders with meticulous precision. Deed. Original bank fraud evidence exit plan. The sound of the printer filled the room like a heartbeat. By dawn, I had a plan clean, silent, surgical. When Marissa called the next morning, her voice was unusually tense. Avery, I've confirmed your grandfather's documentation. You are indeed the legal owner. I recommend transferring all related files to your name immediately. I already have, I said. She hesitated. You understand this could escalate. I'm counting on it. From that moment, everything moved fast. I closed joint accounts, disabled autopay, and removed secondary users. Each click on the bank portal echoed like a door slamming shut. Close account. Remove name. Confirm. The beeps were almost musical. At 5 p.m., Haley texted. Mom's planning the trip. Are you coming or not? I looked at the message for a long time. Then, let it fade to black. The next morning, Daniel called again. Got a buyer, he said. Cash offer. No inspection. Retired couple from Oregon. They want somewhere quiet. How soon? We could close in 10 days. Do it. He hesitated. You sure about this? I've never been surer. For the next week, I lived like a ghost with a checklist. Coffee at 7. Calls at 9. Scanning. Deleting. Saving. I barely left the apartment. I didn't need to. The internet carried my revenge for me. Then, one morning, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Mom. Avery. What happened to the property tax account? Liam. Why did the payment bounce? Are you screwing with the system? Haley. Can you at least tell us if you're coming this weekend? I ignored them all. That afternoon, Daniel emailed. Sale complete. Funds transferred. No explosion. No soundtrack. Just quiet finality. By the time my family arrived at Ravenwood, the sold sign was already planted in the dirt. Haley started live streaming their arrival smiles. Laughter until Mom noticed the new lock code and the empty driveway. Her voice cracked mid-sentence. Wait, what the hell? The camera shook. Then, silence. The stream cut. But the damage was done. Screenshots spread fast. People began asking questions online. Wasn't that Avery's property? Good for her. That was the first twist they hadn't planned for. By nightfall, my phone was a storm of calls. Voicemails. Please. Mom's voice trembled in one. This isn't how family handles things. You can't just erase us. I let it play to the end. Then deleted it. They had erased me first. The next evening, the city outside my window looked washed clean. Like someone had wiped the world down and started over. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and glowing under the amber streetlights. Inside, my apartment was immaculate, every document stacked in precise order. Every page labeled. The quiet wasn't heavy anymore, it was waiting. At 8:07 p.m., the buzzer rang. One long, impatient tone. I didn't need to ask who it was. I pressed the intercom. Come up. The elevator groaned its way to the 5th floor. Un moment later, the knock came soft, restrained. When I opened the door, my mother stood there, drenched from the drizzle. Eyes puffy, coat half-buttoned. For the first time in years, she looked uncertain. Can I come in? You already have, I said, stepping aside. She scanned the apartment, the chipped mugs, the small couch, the stack of paperwork. So this is where you've been hiding. This is where I live, I said. Where I breathe. She set her purse down, but her tone sharpened. You've caused a disaster. Avery. Your father's embarrassed. Liam's furious. You sold the cabin. Closed all the accounts. Yes. Her voice rose. Soft, but venomous. Do you have any idea what you've done to this family? Yes. I said again. I stopped being the foundation you build on and forgot existed. She flinched. You always twist things. We did what we had to do. It's called trust. It's called theft. I said quietly. You forged my name. Used my credit. Lied about ownership. Her nostrils flared. Eyes cold. Don't dramatize. We kept things running. You would have lost it all without us. That made me laugh a sharp AG. Small sound. You mean the cabin Grandpa gave me? The one you rebranded into your stage set? Her face tightened. For the first time, the performance slipped. I built this family from nothing. She whispered. I can't let you destroy the picture. There's your problem, I said. You care more about the picture than the people in it. I reached over, slid a folder across the table toward her. Inside, deed copies, bank statements, Marissa's confirmation email. That's everything, I said. Every lie in black and white. She didn't touch it. She just stared at me, jaw trembling, until her voice cracked. You think this makes you free?